Assalamualaikum and hello to our fellow friends and of course to our beloved lecturer, Madam Tursiana. First of all, my groupmates and I would like to introduce ourselves. My name is Shaza Humaira binti Jeffrey, my metric number 20209528555 from HM2522A. I will be the first presenter.
My name is Nur Shafiha binti Muhammad as the second presenter.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Fatihah binti Muhammad. I'm the third presenter.
Hi, I'm your Mahfuzi and I'm the fourth presenter for this video.
Welcome to our video presentation. Alright, today my groupmates and I would like to present, discuss and talk to you guys about the title, which is the advantages and disadvantages of moving out to countryside. Did you know what's the benefit in countryside? So now my groupmates and I want to explain a little bit of pros and cons when in countryside. In our group's analysis, the statements are to highlight when moving out to countryside provide an advantages but still have some disadvantages in certain areas. For the first main point, which is the advantages that I found out from the article is moving out to countryside. We will get some good environment with nature. To support my first main point, I have 4 supporting details from the article. According to NUE 2018, cities people tend to have asthma, allergies and have depression. They are less obese, less to get killed in car crash and have lower risk of suicide. They live a healthier life as elderly people and usually live longer. After that, in countryside, the landscape is much better and cozy than in developed areas. Other than that, people living in fewer socio-economic circumstances seems to benefit more from natural areas than wealthy people sales-wide. NUE 2018. Moreover, Figueredo 2009 said that moving out to countryside also one of the major features and advantages of rural quality of life is the closer relation among rural people and nature. From that, they very close with society and community. For my second main point, when moving out to countryside is they will get more good quality compared to living urban area. To support my second point, I also have 4 supporting details from the article. According to Hecate 2001, some claim that the health relate closely to others and that the quality of public services and quality of community depend on their living conditions or on the individual's well-being. In addition, the environment in society and community in countryside are many of them are related to the home, to the countryside, family and friends. People tend to be always reconciled to the condition in peripheral rural areas. Benisha and Pablo 2017. After that, Tula 2017 said that in village others becomes targets of migration, which suggestion migration driven by improving urban residents' standard of living. However, allow a useful difference between the calculation of quality of life and the interrelated living condition on the individual district 2017. From that, living in countryside is better for your health and get a fresh air rather than living a hectic life in cities. That's all from me. I will pass to the second presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. So my name is Nur Shabiha binti Muhammad and I will continue from Shaza Humaira. So the article that I used to do my part of the analysis is called Village Facilities and Social Place Attachment in the Rural Netherlands. That was written by Jos Gilling, Tilda Hudson and Lotte Vermeersch in the year 2018. So I will state about my first main point, which is the advantages of moving to countryside offers a closer community interaction. To support my main point, WISE 2009 state that teenagers and senior citizens are far less responsive and rely more on their immediate living conditions and are therefore assumed to be part of the village social network. That means people can attach and have a good relationship through the village social networks and difference with the way of living in urban areas. Next, to support my main point, I found from the article that state about interaction and also socialization with community around, which is family, friends and also neighbor, influence the produce of bonds within the once residential communities as mentioned by Jennings and Cranage 2013. Means that when socialization represent in one community, it will produce the bonds. Since people do not have this kind of chance in urban living, people can feel it when they live in the countryside. Moreover, to the physical and cultural aspects of the location, people are able to feel deeply linked to it due to their close relationship and the origins of the generation or the strong religious symptoms of the areas as stated by Jos Gilling ATEL 2018. The close relationship also happened due to when people are able to survive in that place. Other than that, according to Priyanki Barua 2020, everybody got to know each other due it is a small place. People in the neighborhood will introduce themselves and provide with warm welcome gift. For instance, present like pie or cookies to the someone new that enters the area. It is proof that in the countryside, people live in the environment that makes community relationship more closer. So, let's proceed to the second main point. My second main point is the living costs of moving to countryside are lower than the cost of living in urban area. To support this, Iseman mentioned that lower cost of property, low cost of construction, reduced price of building, lower cost of labor, lower safety costs, lower cost of parking, and lower taxes in countryside of the America. This statement states that in rural America, all mentioned costs are lower, means that in countryside, people can save more money. Secondly, the variation in the cost of living in various areas of the country and the rural and urban counties of the same country exists, say McMahon. That means the cost and living in rural and urban areas exist. Next, findings from James A. Curry 2003 revealed that Pennsylvania's rural areas, the living cost seems be lower than in the urban areas. From these findings mean that countryside had the living cost lower compared urban area. Other than that, James A. Curry 2003 even mentioned that roughly housing prices in the urban counties of Pennsylvania was 6.2 higher than in their rural states. We can see that the cost of buying house in urban area higher than housing prices in rural areas. So, the authors uses natural tone in delivering the article, and this article effectiveness is for general public, especially people that have intention to moving into the countryside. This main of the article purpose is to inform and encourage people about the advantages of moving to countryside, and last but not least, the usage of simple language of the article help readers understand the delivery information well. In short, living in countryside provide a better bonding with your neighbor, also the people around, rather than living in the cities, and then the living cost in countryside can save your monies a lot. So that's all from me, and I would like to invite Fakiha as the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Fakiha binti Muhammad Fauzi. By the way, thank you to the Nur Syabiha binti Muhammad. Okay, I will continue to the next part, which is the disadvantage moving out to the countryside. Firstly, the disadvantage moving out to the countryside is the access to the health is limited. According to the Rural Health Information Hub in 2020, stated that the rural population are more likely to have to travel long distance to access healthcare service. Usually, the rural people have to send their seriously ill family members to the hospital, which has all the more complicated equipment facilities to treat. For example, grandmother who have a critical heart problem needed to make ongoing treatment and checkup at the National Health Institution located in the big city. This made it difficult for the rural population who have to take a long time to go to the hospital and to get a good treatment. Next is health awareness can also be an obstacle to healthcare access. Health awareness influences the capacity of the patient to understand their healthcare providers' health records and guidelines. Moreover, in the traditional small rural hospitals, mostly the standard of the service and facilities is usually lacking. Usually treatment in rural hospital is more focused on treating patients with pain problems that are not too critical due to lack of equipment in rural hospitals. And critically ill patients will be sent to city hospital for good treatment from specialists as well as adequate equipment to treat patients. The lack of workers' healthcare also on remote areas access to healthcare is a daily care provider, which is released on a sufficient workforce. As we know, not only equipment is not equipped in rural hospitals, but usually trained doctors will be sent to the rural hospitals to gain their experience in treating patients. Secondly, the disadvantage moving out to countryside is there are limited education facilities in the rural area. According to the Sri Kanchishari and Nagaraja in 2013, stated that teachers do not make use of the technology in rural school and they prefer reading the textbook to describe lesson plans to their pupils. In general, as we know, most teachers in rural area are old. They are more friendly to use textbook because this delivery technique has been used since time immemorial. They have to take the time to understand and know how to use the digital technology in applying during teaching activities. Other than that, In urban area, the student, it is easier to drive to school with the availability of transport service, but in the rural area, the student need to use their own personal transport. Next, the school should also provide with the appropriate education service such as well-equipped libraries, media centers, and lab. The perfect equipment in the school is able to improve student perform and can attract students to learn because of the more comfortable environment, and all the educate equipment survive. Then in the rural school, students are invited to sit on the floor and sufficient infrastructure, furniture or appliances are not offered. It is necessary to provide sufficient facilities in school to promote the acquisition of knowledge. Overall, the countryside lack of healthcare facilities is difficult for some people in countryside, and education facilities is limited in country area. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you. Next, I would like to invite Arma as our last presenter.
Thank you, Fakihah Fauzi. Now, I'll be talking about housing countryside far more affordable. For my supporting detail, according to Thomson 2020, the housing market is supply and demand, and the prices are continuing to rise as homes are in demand. You pay fees for service provided by cities such as waste disposal, mass transit, and livestock management when you live in boundaries of big town. Your property taxes cover such a large part of the program, which add cost to your expenses. Another point I want to add is employment opportunities are much scarcer in rural areas than in cities. To add my supporting details, according to Mitchell 2020, city residents tend to change jobs. Another point I want to add is, in cities, high-paid employment typically found in banking, pharmacy, lawyer, doctor, architecture, and many more high-paid jobs. For those entering urban life, it will be more job opportunities and better wage opportunities. City tends to have high salaries for those who in need and provide more skill in their respective field. That's all for my part. Thank you.